Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. So, do you think that if the United States of America delivers Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine, the war will end? Do you think Russia will lose? Do you think Russia will take its own underwear, put them on top of a stick and say, hey, unconditional surrender, you got it? Well, I will tell you what Maria Zakharova has to say about that garbage. Well, the Germans, with their guilt, provided, and not only, provided Zelenskyy with more Patriot systems. I don't really understand why, since the Patriot systems had a rate of success of about 6% against the Iskander M. But hey, good for the military-industrial complex from the United States of America, I guess. Zelensky confirms that. Now, while the Americans are providing Zelensky, not Ukraine, Zelensky with Patriot systems, the Americans lack missile defense systems against Russia's newest missile, Burevestnik. Why? It flies too low and too fast. We're going to look into this according to an ex-US Intel officer. Then the Ukrainians confirm, or at least not the Ukrainian government, but the DeepState, and DeepState is featured by New Voice of Ukraine. Russian forces advance in Pokrovsk, Kharkiv and Zaporizhzhya. The Ukrainians continue to deny that their troops are encircled in Kupiansk and in Pokrovsk or Krasnoarmeysk. And the last topic for this video, entire Donetsk Oblast left without power. So the Russians attacked, obviously unsuccessfully, but somehow the entire oblast, like county, Zhudets, without power. Alright, so no problem, I guarantee you Zelensky has power. So let's start with the first topic, with the Tomahawk missiles. This comes from Russia Today. 2nd of November 2025. Tomahawk won't bring peace to Ukraine, Moscow says. Supplying the United States-made cruise missiles to Kiev will not help end the conflict, the Russian Foreign Ministry has said. But that's not the point, Zakharova. Right here, supplying will not help end, Maria Zakharova has said. That's not the point, baby doll. The point is this. They will test their missiles against the Russians' air defense systems. And Sukhois, or whatever they're gonna, I don't need a Sukhoi, they're gonna need a Tomahawk against a Sukhoi. But nevertheless, this is a testing ground for the arms manufacturing companies. And by using them, they need to resupply them. So they will have commands, they will have orders, they have to supply more. That's a racket over here, okay? And the Russians will adjust to the Patriot systems, and after a while the Patriot systems will be probably, again, 6% success rate, or maybe 3%. Who knows? So that's the whole point. Now the point is, more important point is, if the Russians consider that an attack by the United States of America on Russia, which I think it is, not a proxy war anymore. Why? Because according to the Russians, and not only the Russians, the Patriot systems to be operated by the Ukrainians, they need a lot of stuff that they are incapable to have at this point. All right, so that all those things must be provided by the US military, which is personnel, making sure that those missiles are leaving that area, operated and directed towards the target. And the Russians said that if that's happened, we are at war. That's more important than the war will not stop. I think it's going to be an escalation. But let's see what Zakharova has to say. She made the remarks after CNN reported that the Pentagon has given the White House approval to supply Tomahawks to Ukraine, after concluding that the move would not deplete U.S. stockpiles. Nevertheless, U.S. President Donald Trump has declined to provide the missile yet, which is capable of striking targets deep inside Russia. And I'm quoting, "As the current situation and previous years have shown, it is clear that militarization and arms deliveries, especially to a terrorist regime, will not lead to a settlement. Moreover, such actions would contradict the campaign promises made by the current U.S. administration." Zakharova. Well, Zakharova, let's not be naive. All right, but she's not saying that to people who know what's going on. She tells us the people who needs to hear it. All right, so that's what it is. Next, new voice of Ukraine. Ukraine to receive German-promised Patriot systems in coming days. German aid to Ukraine. Why do you think the Germans give the Ukrainians military? These are American-made Patriot systems. Because the Germans will buy more. On whose money? Banks' money, with interest paid by the German folk. Ukraine will receive 2 Patriot air defense systems promised by Germany in the coming days. Ready? Boom. Kiev has received more Patriot missiles systems. Zelenskyy. The US-made air defense batteries were delivered by Germany, the Ukrainian leader has said. And here he says, in a post on X Sunday, Zelenskyy thanked German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Our agreements have been fulfilled. More Patriots are now in Ukraine and being put into operation. And I don't think those are operated by Ukrainians. Of course, more systems are needed to protect key infrastructure sites and our cities across the entire territory. And we will continue working to obtain them, not only at the potential level states, Alright, so with these guys like Zelenskyy, it's like this. They never had enough. If you show one weakness, or you give them, I don't know, some reparations or something regarding something, they will come for more. That's how they are. And if we do for them anything, you look back 2,000 years and you give them, you help them, you give them, you punch them, you help them, and so on. And let's say you meet them today and say, hey, why don't you do something for me? You don't do anything for me. And you say, wait. Itzik, Goldberg, okay, Bronstein, I did for you last year. I did 3 years ago, I did 2 centuries ago, I did 5 centuries ago, I did yesterday. What the hell? Yes, says Bronstein. But what did you do for me today? It's exactly never enough. Give them 1 billion, they will want 50 billion. Give them 50 billion, they will have 200 billion. Never enough. So the best thing is to do, smack the fuck out of them. I'm sorry. Am I too, too much profanity? Alright, go and watch, I don't know, Tom and Jerry, if you want to know profanity. Here is an adult channel, okay? Let's move on. Zelenskyy, Ukraine has received more Patriot systems thanks to Germany. So the German folk gave to this Goldberg something. Good for you. Good for you. This is a democracy. Next one. Sputnik. United States lacks missile defense systems against Russia's Burevestnik missile. Ex-US intel officer. The United States does not possess a defense missile capable of repelling a strike by Russia's new Burevestnik cruise missiles, former US Marine Corps intelligence officer Scott Ritter told Sputnik. Well, we know that, but hey, let's move on. So what's going on here? What happened? So on October 26th, Russian President Putin announced that the Burevestnik missile had successfully completed its test, calling it a unique weapon. Russian Chief of Staff Gerasimov, general, said it flew 14,000 kilometers, 8,700 miles in October test flight. So what they say is that this thing is, this missile is operated by a nuclear reactor. Alright, so speeds could be increased and so on. And the most important thing is that this missile flies very low. Therefore, it follows the, terrains, whatever you got. You got a valley, goes in a valley, sleeps over there a little bit, goes on the hill, goes on the mountain, goes down, and so on. This is the advantage of Burevestnik, and supposedly can fly how much it wants, forever. It's a new perpetuum mobile. So the Americans don't have it. Yeah, but the Americans are certain the Russians will not strike them. And you don't need to defend, you need to strike. So you can have this Burevestnik thing, right? If these guys have something next to you and they hit you over there, yeah, you hit me, I hit you. What do you think, the Russians are capable of destroying all the ICBMs or everything the Americans could potentially send at them? No. So this is just baboonish talk. I shouldn't even talk about it. Simply not talk about it. If I would be the United States of America, I would say, good for you. Nice. We're going to develop ours. I mean, we don't even have to defend ourselves against that. We have to make sure that we strike you. Like, remember Johan Cruyff, the great player and so on. Remember him? The Dutch football player with the number 14 on. So when he was a coach at Barcelona, he said that I don't care how many, he was talking about his defense. I don't care how many goals we receive, as long as we score one more than they do. So he was offensive. Yeah, you score 50 goals, we're going to score 51. The same here. The Russians can score 50. If the other guys score, I don't know, 51, that's fine enough. The same here. So let's move on. Is Pokrovsk and Kupiansk, are they encircled? And Dmitrov? The Russians claim, yes, and the Russians not only claim that, they also told the media, the Western media, guys, if you want to show up, we will provide you safe passage into Pokrovsk and interview whomever over there and see for your own, all right? See what's going on. Come over. The same as the Germans did, the Nazis did in the Second World War after they unearthed the Katyn Forest massacre done by the Soviet commissars, the Bernsteins, the Zelenskys, the Goldbergs, the Bern Baba, these guys, okay, Gossmans and so on. So the same, Putin said, come over, go and check for yourselves, and then go and report to the world the truth. Do you think they came? Not even that. Okay, so they say, the Ukrainians say, no, we tried, we know nothing. The things are not that good, but no, they're not encircled. Here, New Voice of Ukraine, Russian forces advance in Pokrovsk, Kharkiv and Zaporizhzhya. So they had to say something, so they advance. Pokrovsk, Kharkiv and Zaporizhzhya. So Pokrovsk, you see, Pokrovsk is a city. Kharkiv in this, I don't think they advance on Kharkiv, the city. I think it's the Oblast. And the sense, Zaporizhzhya is the city. Why? I will show you. Rather. So first, you got Zaporizhzhya. So it's far away, Zaporizhzhya, the city right there, from the line of contact. Yes, the Russian advance in Zaporizhzhya Oblast, which is like that. All right, they advance here. Then you got Pokrovsk right here. This is the one, Krasnoarmeysk, that is encircled. And this is not a oblast, this is a city. And then he said Kharkov. You see, you have Kharkov here. What advance towards what? Where advance? No, they're talking about here, Kupiansk, this thing right here. This is what they talk about. The city is encircled in Kharkov Oblast. Got it? But this comes, as I said, from the deep state. And the last topic, entire Donetsk Oblast left without power. November 2nd. Russian energy power outages have been introduced across Donetsk Oblast following Russian strikes on energy infrastructure, leaving the entire oblast without electricity. And here's the background. On the night of 30 to 31st of October, Russian forces launched yet another drone attack on energy infrastructure facility in Odessa Oblast. Now, if you go and watch this video made about that attack, you're going to find out that the Russians destroyed, 529 out of 560 drones or something like this. Or they destroyed out of 40 missiles, they destroyed 25. But somehow the whole oblast is fucked. How is that possible? And by the way, the rest, the missiles and the drones hit only kindergartens, old people's houses, hospitals and brothels. No, not brothels. Let them be. We need them. All right, my friends, here it is. Yes, these guys are encircled. And yes, it's up to the Russians to spare those Ukrainians' lives. But the non-Ukrainian, Zelensky doesn't give a damn about them. I guarantee you that. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.